How's it going, everybody? Ben Gothard here, trying to do this again because the internet was not working before. So anyways, Chris and I were talking, and we were talking about how, parents are always giving, and people give all the time, but we were specifically talking about our parents, and just thinking of all the things that they've done for us, and all the things they've given us. And Chris was about to tell us a cool story about...
This comes from us going out for like a family meal.
Yeah. We just came out from a family meal. My cousin Maya's in town, which is awesome. I'm so glad to have her here. And we went out with my grandparents, who on my dad's side I call Bubby and Honey, and then my dad and Chris and Maya were there too. So, anyways, Chris, take away the story and hit us with some knowledge.
I was actually going to tell Ben a story about one Christmas when I was about 14 years old, and then Nick, I'm covering the volume, and Nick, who's my older brother, if you didn't know, he is 2 years older than me, so he was about 16 at this time. And it was one Christmas that probably my dad did, one of the most exciting and unexpected things when it's come to like, a birthday, whatever it be. But this time was Christmas event. So me and Nick were pretty much up all night, as we were as children, just excited the night before, seeing what we're going to get from the parents and grandparents and stuff like that.
You didn't believe in Santa?
Of course. Oh yeah, of course. If Nick didn't ruin it for me at that time. Cheers, Nick. But yeah, so it was one morning, and me and Nick finally fell asleep in our room, and it was about 3 a.m. and my dad came into the room, and he said, boys, quick, get up. And Ben hasn't heard this either, so and like me and Nick were like, oh shit, what's wrong? Turns on the light. He goes, come outside. And we lived on before back in Wales, in Pembrokeshire, on like a farm. So if you can imagine, there was like a main guest house, and then we'd have like a big yard, and on the other side of the yard, just to give you like an envisionment of what it was, there would be like sheds. So it would be like old-fashioned sheds where my dad used to keep kind of like cows, milking cows and stuff like that. So the sheds were empty, and my dad kind of took us out. He said, boys, come on. And this was on Christmas morning now, so it was like 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning. And me and Nick were like, what is going on, Dad? What are you doing? So yeah, he turned on the lights. He said, boys, put your shoes on. Come on, I've got to show you something. And he took me and Nick outside, and he walked us over to the shed. Now, no, he wasn't going to hurt us or anything, or show us anything weird, but he walked us over to the shed, and me and Nick really didn't know what was going on, and he turned on the shed light, and what was waiting for us was a brand new quad bike. Brand new quad bike, a Yamaha, like 125cc or like a 200cc Yamaha.
What a gift!
Me and Nick were like, it was. I didn't even run to go and see what it was like at the time, because it was so. Yeah. It was such like an overwhelming experience. Me and Nick looked at each other, and we just thought, like, it was the best experience ever. And my dad, he didn't say much. He just looked at us and took in the kind of the moments of like our reaction, and then.
Because that's probably more worth it for him.
Yeah, but then the cooler thing happened. Oh. He said, we don't have to wait until tomorrow, because this quad bike has got a light on it. So my dad's, and this is at 3 or 4 a.m. So my dad started up the quad, and me and Nick were like, I'm going first. No, I'm going first. No, I'm going first. And Nick was a better rugby player than me, so he could really tackle me. So I let him go first. I let him go first. And so yeah, my dad started up the quad. He drove it out of the shed. He gave us like a 30-second tutorial on how to drive this quad, and he said, Nick, go on, go. And there was Nick with like 4 a.m. in the morning, racing around the farm on this brand new quad bike with a centre light on, just going through the fields. And then we went up to like some of the cow fields and all of like high cut grass and stuff, and it was awesome. So I think we went out for like half an hour, and then we got in. We actually stayed up and had breakfast. We opened up more presents. And then me and Nick must have spent the next week on that quad. And that was one of the greatest experiences of my life, and obviously one of the best presents. And that comes down to the power of giving. So
because I would opine here, I'll take it back, my friend. I would opine that for your dad, you know, obviously he wants to see his kids happy.
Yeah.
But that reaction, like when y'all went into the shed and saw the bike for the first time, and y'all were just like, oh my God, you know, freaking out, whatever y'all doing. Yeah. That was probably worth it for him because he got to give that experience to y'all. Yeah. And so, you know, I just want to talk a little bit more about giving because I think it's, you know, I think it's so important to truly give, right? To truly give. There was this one TED Talk I was watching, and I actually think that we were listening to it the other day. Yeah. And this lady changed one thing in her life, and that one thing was every day, her and her son, I think she was a single mother, her and her son were going to give one thing, do one nice thing for somebody else every day. One thing, just give once a day, every day for a year. And she said in the beginning it was more of a chore. You know, you got to get up and you got to make sure you do it, and you know, you just got to focus on doing that. But after a while, it started to become more and more and more a part of her life. And she said that it literally changed her life by giving every single day. And her son, he was part of it too. He was doing it with her. And she said that one of the best moments for her out of that whole thing, that whole year, was when she went with her son to, it was like a Goodwill, or it was, you know, some place where you can donate your, oh, you know what it was? They went to an animal shelter. Yeah. And he had some spare blankets. And what he was going to do was donate those spare blankets to this animal shelter. And here, I can take it, brother. Donate it to this animal shelter. And she said that it was so powerful because he gave his blankets, or you know, whatever it was, the cloth that they were donating to this shelter, and then he went and looked at it, and he was like 5 or 6 years old at the time. You know, so he was a young kid. Oh, okay. Yeah. So he gave this blanket, and then he went over and he saw the cats and the dogs and all the animals, and he was like, are my blankets going to be used for them? Are they going to get to use my blankets? And once it really started to click that what he gave was meaningful and was actually doing good for others, and you know, for this one's particular instance, it was for animals. But when he was giving, it lit him up, and he was full of joy. He was so happy because he was doing something nice for the people, right? And so I think that's one of the biggest takeaways is when you give like that, when you give of yourself, you are allowing, one, you're allowing another person to benefit from something that you've created, right? And so by you giving your time, and giving your effort, giving your energy, you are literally helping to make the world a better place. Because you never know where people are in their lives. You never know what they're going through, or what they're going through, or even where they are in their own lives, what struggles they're having. And so to take time out of your busy schedule and your busy day to give to somebody else, that is just incredible, right? And so not only will it make you feel incredible, but you could also seriously help somebody, right? And so think of when next time you need something and you've been helping out other people. Well, if you help enough people, then somebody is more than likely going to be willing to help you back. Because you've already taken the time and effort, spent the money, whatever it was, to help somebody else, and you've provided something meaningful to somebody else. Well, now in your time of need, if you know that ever happens, but you know, from time to time we all need something. When that time comes, you have people that you can rely on because you've been giving of yourself to so many other people. And so back to the story, this lady and her son started this company called like 365 Give or something like that, and it is now a part of schools. I mean, it is part of a curriculum where they teach this to kids in schools. And so she is now taking an experiment that she did of giving every single day with her son for a whole year, and she is now teaching children how to do that, and she's building a successful business. So for her, by giving of herself, she was able to, let's not walk in the street, she was able to not only fill a big piece of joy and happiness into her own life, but she actually started a whole company based off of that. So that's just awesome, right? So, think about all the people in your life who have given to you or who have done incredible things for you. Just kind of a case in point. What would you be willing to do for them now? Right now, that think of people who have done incredible things for you and who have given you different things or shown you kindness. Well, now, would you not be willing to reciprocate that? Would you not be willing to give back to them? And it's not about giving to people so that you can take later on. But just think about it. Like think about how powerful it is, and think about it in terms of your own life. Like Chris and I, we started talking about it because we were talking about our parents, and we were saying, our parents, they're parents. So they told us what to do when we were kids, and now they'll always tell us what to do because they're parents, and that's what they do. But think of how much more they've given to us. And so, we were just kind of talking about that, and it's really powerful. Really powerful. So Chris, if somebody were to be struggling a little bit with the idea of giving, right? Maybe they think they don't have anything to give, or they don't have any time, or what they have to give is not valuable enough. What would you say to that? How can somebody start giving and start?
Start giving. If you haven't got any money or like capital or anything like that. I only started doing this properly, I will say about six months ago maybe. I really started to open up to giving more, especially when I started to earn more money. Because for one, I was earning some great money, I still do, but I was the fulfillment factor was not where it needed to be, and that's where I kind of looked for other things to really fill the void of where that fulfillment kind of factor needed to be. So I had money, but I didn't want to dive into giving money straight away in terms of the giving side of things. So I made it very simple for myself, and I started to do a number of things. One thing I did do was I would help someone with their shopping. So I'd help someone with their shopping if I saw them struggling with a few bags. So I'd help carry people's bags to the cars. I do that, I'd push some trolleys, but then when it actually came to, the actual money giving side of things, we're actually at a petrol station right now, and I've got a great story for what I did once, and that was, I actually drove up to,
Are you telling me this the other day?
I told you this. So I drove up to a petrol station, and then I hadn't done my kind of give for the day, so I filled up my car. I was thinking it was $40, and I went to pay for my fuel in the petrol station, just like the one behind us. And then there was an old lady putting her gas in that was next to me, and that came to about $60. I went to the cashier and I said, "Can you put number 4 through, and can you put number 6 through too?" And the cashier was like, "What do you mean number 6? You've only got one car." I was like, "Look, I'm just trying to do something nice." And even the facial expression and the kind of shock that the cashier was in for me to do that for someone else was absolutely crazy.
Was that not worth it for you?
Yeah, absolutely, totally. Because that came to $100 or whatever, that doesn't matter.
Right.
Put it through, and then this was the best feeling. So as I was walking out of the petrol station, the old lady who was putting her gas in to come in and pay for it, I walked through the door the same time as her. I held the door open for her. I smiled at her, and I said, I didn't say anything, I just said, "Have a great day." And I walked off, I jumped in my car, and then I left. So I just, sometimes I wonder what that conversation was like between that cashier and the customer,
the lady,
but I'll never know, and that's not, it's not about that. So to me,
awesome.
That was one of the ultimate fulfillment feelings, and if you can do that over an extended period of time, consistently, then those feelings are only going to ramp up. So,
right. And so, it doesn't have to always be money, right? Kind of what I was getting at earlier was, it doesn't have to be money. A lot of the times, what will be more fulfilling, and this is only coming from experience, is giving of your time.
Yeah.
And
Yes, you do.
I try. But you know, like if somebody has a question about, you know, some entrepreneurship thing, you know, they want to talk about it. Yeah, I'd love to. Absolutely, I'll have a call with you. I'll talk to you about it. I'll try to, you know, help out in any way that I can. But you know, if there's something like you have extra clothes and you don't wear them, and you know, donate it to Goodwill, or you want to go work for a day on a weekend, and usually it's early, so you gotta, you know, really be wanting to do it.
Go and sweep up someone's yard. Yeah,
sweep up somebody's yard, or like in New Orleans, there's City Park, right? Which those of you who live here are familiar with that, but for those of you who aren't from New Orleans, City Park is this beautiful, massive area of just wildlife and greenery, and it truly is a great place to be in New Orleans. And so one of the things you can do there is you can go and plant trees. Because because after Katrina, it was pretty damaged, and you know, the ecosystem was pretty destroyed, and so there is always stuff that needs to be done. There are always people that are trying to clean it up and fix it. But when you go and spend your time doing that, you get to be in nature. You get to be in you get to be in nature. You get to be planting trees and, you know, building the environment, and you're doing that for your community. You are bettering your own community, which is where you live. So you're also benefiting, right? And you know, I don't want to get into the whole selfless versus selfish giving, because I think as long as you're trying to give of yourself in a positive way and build something better, then that is positive and that's good enough. So you don't have money, invest your time. You don't have time, invest your money. You give away some old stuff that you don't use. We all have a ton of junk around that may be junk to us, but to somebody else that might be their only clean shirt, or that might be their pillow that they're going to sleep on tonight if they don't have a bed or have anything. So you never know.
I'd say your ultimate goal, if any of this is coming across overwhelming, just to put a smile on someone else's face.
Just something small. And so you don't have to be like the woman we were talking about earlier, who every single day for a year gave something. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is the more that you start giving, and you don't expect anything in return, that is when you get back so much more. You know, a lot of people say that it's a give and take. I think, and I'm going to coin this, I think it should be a give and give. Because you shouldn't ever, in my opinion, you shouldn't ever give to somebody with the intention or the intent of getting something back. I always think that you should give to somebody and be at peace with what you've done, and one day when the time is right, just like Chris said, you might get something back. And to me, that is worth it, and that is powerful. So, you know, I just want to wrap up by saying that the power of giving and of truly giving of yourself and being you know, not thinking of yourself when you're doing it, that is how you can seriously make an impact both on yourself, because you get more fulfilled, on another person because you're literally helping them, and the community as a whole because you're giving of yourself to make it better. So that bug just gave me a scare, and that bug definitely just, he got me pretty well, or she. I don't know what the bug is, but that was awesome. So everybody, I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope this has been somewhat entertaining. You got some value out of this. And
is it Saturday or Sunday?
It's Saturday, bro.
Sunday, UK people.
Very nice.
We love the UK homies. Love you all. Miss
Absolutely.
You all.
Love you too. So, everybody, love you guys, and let's build a better world together.